All right, we'll go ahead and get started here. We'd like to welcome Collin Morikawa into the interview room at the 2022 Players Championship. Collin, you've won 5 times on the PGA Tour, including 2 major championships. Does it feel weird with what you've accomplished in your career that this is only your second appearance here at the Players?
Well, you know, 5 Cheetos is better than 2 Doritos. Okay, yeah. Oh. No, yeah. I don't even know what you asked. Look, second time at the Players, it feels like I've been here forever. I feel like, you know, even with what happened in COVID in 2020, I still did all my prep. Last year, obviously, I got 4 rounds in. You know, I'd been here years before for the junior Players, and there's just a lot of good memories. You know, I think I played decently in junior Players, but it feels like it's a course that kind of fits my eye and I feel comfortable with. I think a lot of guys can feel comfortable on this course, but you've got to come out here prepared and ready to play some really good golf. And thankfully, you know, after LA, after a couple weeks off to get, you know, things dialed a little bit more, feels really good.
4 starts on tour this season, 4 top 10s, including runner-up in your last start at the Genesis Invitational. After 2 weeks off, how does your game feel coming into this week?
Feels great. It's in a spot now where I'm just like, during these practice rounds, I'm just ready to go play golf. Like you're going out trying to figure out how you're going to play the best golf, how you're going to make the most amount of birdies, and just figure out this course. You know, some weeks you show up on a Monday and you're grinding and you're trying to work on something, whether it's your swing or your putting or whatever it may be. And this week, like, I'm not doing a ton on the range. I'm not doing a ton out in the practice area. I'm just going to go out and play golf, and just trying to get more reps in on the holes to be as comfortable as possible for, you know, Thursday.
All right, we'll take some questions out here. If you have a question, raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. We will start in the back on the aisle there.
Hi, Colin. As Jake was saying, 2 years ago, you were here as a first-timer, together with Scotty Scheffler, together with Victor Hovland. And now you all have the chance to be #1 in the world. I mean, how do you explain that?
I can't. You know, we all say it since day one. We all believed in ourselves. I mean, I go back to that press conference, Victor, Matt, and Justin Suh, we all had at Travelers. You know, the 4 of us were sitting together, and I said the same thing. I'm going to say the same thing again, is like, we just truly believed in ourselves. And that's the #1 thing, is that you absolutely have to trust yourself that you can do it. And not just make it to the PGA Tour, not just make it to the top 100, top 50 in the world, but to be #1. And I think that just shows how good, you know, the young guys are coming out, how good this kind of young pile is. Obviously, we've seen this, you know, young group of Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas and Ricky and Xander and, you know, Cantley, like, kind of bunch that group together, right? And I think everyone's kind of bunching us together because we are, you know, within a year or 2 apart. But from day one, I think it's just all belief, that knowing that we'd get here. You know, even if you asked us when we were 13, 14 years old, like, it was the same answer.
We'll go next to Dan Rappaport in the middle.
Kind of a funky tournament for you last year. I think you made the cut on the number, shot 4 over on Saturday, and then 6 under on Sunday. Did something click on Saturday night? Was it a strategy thing where you just felt, I'm going to go at pins, or what was the key to that 66 on Sunday?
I had JJ read my putts for me. Yeah, it was, you know, I think this was like a week after concession, so my game felt really good. Obviously, it was still really new with the claw putting grip, or the saw putting grip. And, you know, it was just one of those weeks where, you know, it wasn't clicking and couldn't put together a round. And the last day I had him come in for a couple reads, help me out with a little bit of grain, and you just start seeing them go in the hole. To be honest, I remember not finishing well on the leaderboard. I remember that final round. I could not tell you a shot from the first 3 rounds of what I did last year. That's just kind of what happened. So show up this week, obviously good memories from the last round, and just kind of pull that forward for the next few days.
And then on a separate note, you know, it feels like this tournament has sort of grown in stature over the last 10 years with the purse going up. And for someone like you who's only been out here for a couple of years, how do you think you and the guys your age think about this tournament in relation to other tournaments?
Yeah, you know, I never thought about it. You know, you always hear when you're growing up, like, this is golf's 5th major, right? But you don't understand really what a major even is when you're not a professional. Like, you don't, when you show up to the grounds of a major championship, like, people breathe differently. Like, people are so much more focused and so much I mean, they treat it way differently, and that's not how I approach it. Like, I show up every week trying to win, and I show up to, play my best and keep the same routine. But you can tell when you step out here, like, guys are showing up a lot more on a Monday. Guys are showing up a lot earlier on a Tuesday. There's a lot more people out here because they're just putting in that extra little prep because they view this tournament that largely, right, as this big tournament. It's a players' tournament, and it's for us. It's for the PGA Tour players. So yeah, absolutely. The past couple of years when you show up, like, you can feel the weight of what the players means to everyone, and I think that's the coolest thing. I mean, I remember showing up to Harding Park. That was my second major, and there were no fans, and you could still tell that people were like walking on, ice, like knowing that this is what this week represents. And that's the same thing you feel this week, is that you see some guys out here. You just see more guys just like slowly taking their deep breaths because they understand what the players means. And, I think I've understood over the past couple of years what it would mean to me, hopefully to hoist a trophy one day.
Go to Gary and then Ryan.
Hey, Colin. So as a result, do you feel like that your talents sort of suited well to this course?
I mean, I think there's so many different ways to play this golf course, which is why, when people ask me what my favorite golf course is out on tour, this doesn't really stick out immediately. But when you actually think about it, it should, because it is that good of a golf course. Because anyone can play. You can play it a million different ways. It tests every aspect of your game, and you can't get away with, just hitting some bad shots and getting away with, a par or getting away with a birdie even. Like, you have to play really good golf. And that's what makes a great golf course. Riviera is one of my favorite courses out on tour because you have to golf your ball. You have to be able to, like, step up to the tee, hit good tee shots, but also hit good approach shots, make great putts, hit great lag putts, and that's what Deep Sea Sawgrass, provides. So does it fit my game? I mean, from what I see, yeah, but I think it fits a lot of other people's as well.
And do you have a favorite hole out here?
No, the ones I birdie.
Ryan?
A lot of guys got their teeth kicked in the last 2 weeks. I'm just curious, process-wise, how did you spend the last 2 weeks? How did you prepare for this?
Just kind of, so I like to play a lot of golf, like on the golf course. I don't really like to hit balls on the range, but when I do, or I take a little short practice, I just play the holes in my head. Like, that's how I've always grown up practicing. If I've played the golf course before, I'll literally step on the range, tee up driver like I would on one here, hit a pitching wedge 9-iron, and then go on the next hole. Then hit a draw 3-wood or draw driver, and then hit a 5-wood. And I just play the course like nonstop, because the best times when you play well throughout a week, right? Thursday through Sunday is when you feel the most comfortable. Like, you set up to a tee and you're like, I know what to do. And that's why, like, Summit this year, or for CJ Cup in the fall, was weird, because like I play it every day. But like, I had to put myself in a tournament setting, but I knew what to do. Like, I knew where every hazard, or not hazard, where every rock was, desert, where I needed to miss, whatever. And it's just like, how do you make that every single week? And it's time sometimes.
Sorry, we'll go right here to Adam and then Doug.
Colin, what do you think it is about your personality that allows you to breathe normally at these big events?
I think I just understand, and I've grasped the nature of, where I am in life and what is important. And for me, it's winning, and I feel comfortable in that position. I mean, some people, you have to train yourself to be comfortable, and it's very trainable, right? But I just love being in those moments. Like, I love not necessarily the spotlight, and like, if we had 1 million people in here, like, yeah, that'd be awkward. But like, I love winning, and I love putting myself in contention, and you love, like, that's what you are, like, when you're a kid. Like, I always told my dad, like, oh, just one more shot. Like, let me just make one more. Like, even if it was basketball, like, forget about golf. Like, whatever it was just, let me stay out here one more time. Let me make that last shot. Let me do this one last thing. And that's just who I am. I don't know how it was implemented or, put in me or whatever it may be. But that's just who I am. I'm pretty calm, and I go out there and I just want to be in those situations. And I think that's when I thrive the most.
And going all the way back, what's that first memory of winning that you have?
It's a great question. Probably, like, golf-wise, I mean, the biggest event was the Western Junior in 2013. I mean, that one was like, you finally step into a pretty big national junior event. and I go out and win by, a handful or something, and I played some really great golf, and that was the first time I was like, okay, like, we can win big now. Like, not just win on the local level. And I had never won an AJGA. I still never have. But like, that was my one tournament that was like, okay, like, I can win tournaments. And everyone always tells you, especially as you get older, like, you need to learn how to win. Like, you have to. You have to learn how to win. But like, how do you, I can't sit you down and be like, this is the steps to win. Sometimes you need to see results, and you need to see it improvement, and you need to see that. And that was like the first one that really just was like, okay, what's to stop me?
Doug?
I don't like your chances of finally getting that AJGA trophy, by the way.
Thank you. I don't either.
If you could recall back to maybe some of your teenage years, do you remember how you would have regarded the players? Any memories of it in relation to the landscape of the four majors, and how might that have changed in the time that you've been a pro? Yeah,
I think I briefed that earlier. I mean, the only memory I really have is Tiger making the putt on the back at 17, and that just being played, and it's still played every single day. But no, like the landscape of how I viewed the players was like, okay, everyone says it's big, but I don't know how big it is. And really all you cared about was like, okay, like I wasn't practicing to make my last putt on 18 at the Players. That's how it was as a kid, right? Because we viewed the major, like I viewed the majors as there were four majors. Like you could say there's this, there's that, but there's an asterisk right there. But since I've turned pro, I've viewed it very differently, and I appreciate everything that's put into this tournament because it is amazing. Like the scope, the landscape of everything out here when we show up, it's all for us, right? It's all for the PGA Tour players, and it's really cool to see, and it's great to be a part of, and that's why you want to win this tournament.
Got one in front here.
Colin, Herschel Caldwell with Minority Golf Magazine. Obviously, you're one of the world premier players. Do you see yourself as a role model for all youngsters, particularly of Asian backgrounds? And would you speak to that? And a number of the players have foundations, like the Tiger Woods Foundation. Tony has one, and several of the other guys have one. Do you see yourself with a foundation and reaching back into the community that gave you what you are today?
Yeah, I hope I am a role model for a lot of young kids and a lot of kids looking up to me and hopefully playing golf, or whether it's golf or anything else, right? If they just see me on the golf course and how I project myself and how I act, right? I think that's the biggest thing is learning these life lessons of, maybe they don't have a parent, maybe they don't have a good role model around them. Like, can I be that role model at 20, 25 now? And just be like, okay, yeah, I look like this kid, I look like this guy up here. And it's funny because when people call me by my last name, it's like, I feel weird when they call me like Mr. Morikawa, right? And they're like 15 years old or 18 even. Like it's weird because I'm still a kid to that. Like to me, I'm still a kid. And yeah, I hope I'm a role model, and I hope I'm able to, be that gap in a sense of like, okay, I'm not older where it's awkward to talk to me. Where if they want to talk, I'll be there. As of right now, I don't have a foundation because I think everything has come so quickly, and I don't. And a foundation is the long-term goal, but I want to make sure I do it right, and I want to make sure I put the right things forward, and I'm, pushing all my efforts into what I believe in, not something just to say, I have a foundation today, let's go help out, because that's what every athlete or the big athletes have done in the past. Like, I'd rather help out and slowly understand every little point I want to give towards, and then create a foundation after that, if that makes sense.
We'll go all the way to the right over here.
Hi, Colin. Defend the race to Dubai. It's really a goal for you this year, or once you won last year, is less important for you?
No, it's still important. I mean, I'm still a member of the DP World Tour, and I set myself a little back on the two starts I've had so far through the year, but there's still, the majors. There's still a couple events out there that I'm still going to add to the schedule, and yeah, I mean, look. People can complain or not, whatever, that I played, only so many events last year, but I played the minimum, and I was able to maximize the amount of minimum tournaments I had to play to win. So the biggest thing is that's how I have to do it if I want to play both tours, and especially when I want to play on the PGA tours, I've got to maximize how well I play in the minimum tournaments I play as well. So, is it nice to go over there and play those events? Absolutely. They treat us amazing. It's a great time over there. It's a great time for me to see the world and to travel and experience a lot of good food. But, you know, like we said earlier, I've played 4 events this year in the season, and I want to start adding a few more and just get into a little more of a rhythm. But absolutely, it is still a goal.
We'll go back in the middle to Adam.
Colin, how has Tiger influenced your career? Can you give one real good story about him?
Yeah, he's everything, right? I grew up watching him. I wanted to compete against him. You wanted to be #1 in the world. I just wanted to meet him, right? I think that's every little kid, even now, like kids that grow up playing golf, like you just want to meet Tiger Woods. And I will always remember when I first met him in the back of the Zozo Championship locker room, just, you know, some kid getting introduced to him. And then, you know, we've been able to play a few times, or, you know, handful of times. I've been able to talk to him here and there. He's amazing. And a lot of the stories the few interactions the stories I would tell you, I'm not going to tell you because I think they're meaningful to me, and I don't think anyone needs to know. But I'm getting a lot more friendly with him now, where I can like make a joke and like I don't feel uncomfortable. I would not have joked with him 2 years ago, I'll tell you that. But now I feel like I'm in a place where like if I make a joke and like he'll get it and he'll laugh, and you know, might be a little mad, but it's funny.
Does he have a nickname for you?
No, I don't think. Does he?
I would say you're not friends then. He doesn't have a nickname for you.
Well, no one has a nickname for me. So, yeah, other than Colin with two ones. Thanks, Dan.
Any more questions for Colin?
I guess I'm not friends with anyone.
Thank you very much for your time, Colin.
Thanks, guys.